tell a story of Tzaddikim on Motzei Shabbos is a segula for any issue a person may need. I saw a beautiful story. The Heilige Baal Shem Tov was once traveling and he came to a stop area where a big Gevir lived. And this big Gevir was a big Baal Tzedakah. He took everyone into his home. He had an open home and gave the Yad Rechova. And of course the Baal Shem Tov came to him. He treated him like a king, prepared a beautiful meal. And as the Baal Shem Tov was about to leave, he said to him, "My tired Yeedle, is there anything you need?" And the Yid said, "No, I have Baruch Hashem everything in the world. I don't need anything." So the Baal Shem Tov said to him, "If that's the case, I want a favor from you." He sat down and wrote a letter, signed it and sealed it in an envelope, and addressed it to two names, the Roshei HaKol, the Parnosim of the city Brod. And he said, "I'd like you to personally deliver it to them." And he said, "Of course, Heilige Rebbe, whatever you say, I shall do." And he stuck it into his pocket. And as the Baal Shem Tov was leaving, he went out to prepare to be Malav the Baal Shem Tov. And he walked into his barn. And as he was preparing the horses and whatever was necessary, he bent over and the letter fell out of his pocket and into one of the places where the animals would eat. Baal Shem Tov left. A few years later, the Baal Shem Tov passed away, and this Yeedle Nebuch started going down and down and down. He lost everything he had, mamish. He was left with nothing. 17 years after the Baal Shem Tov passed away, he was looking for some scraps, whatever he can sell, so he can have some bread in his house. And he bumped into this container, turned it over, and suddenly he sees the letter of the Baal Shem Tov, and he started shivering. That's probably the reason why all this happened to me. I didn't do the Tzaddik's will. So without thinking twice, he grabbed the letter and went to Brod. He figured maybe he'll find these Yeedlech. And he starts asking around, does anyone know of a Rosh HaKol, the two heads of the Kol with these names? No such thing. He asked the elderly people, the Alte Yeedlech. Nobody ever heard of them. There was no such thing. There was no Parnosim in this town with these names. And as they're sitting in the Beis HaMedrash, suddenly two boys walk in, and they say, "Wow, there were just elections in the town for new Parnosim." So someone asks, in a joking way, Nebuch, he was laughing at this Yeedle, and he said to him, "Maybe it's rather these two people?" And they said, "Yes." These were two young men of 20, 25 years old who just became the new Parnosim of the town. So the Yeedle was mamish, in total shock. I mean, here the Baal Shem Tov 20 years ago wrote a letter to the Parnosim of the town Brod, and these are the two guys who were elected the day that he got there. So he said, "Epis min hashamayim, interessante Sach." So he ran to the place where they had just elected them. There was a big simcha going on. And he walks over and he says, "I have a letter for you from the Baal Shem Tov." And of course they thought this man was out of his mind, Nebuch. The Baal Shem Tov passed away 17 years ago. So you have a letter from the Baal Shem Tov to us. He tells them the whole story. And they open the letter, and the Heilige Baal Shem Tov writes, "The carrier of this letter is a very special man. Gewaldige Baal Tzedakah. Gewaldige Baal Achnosas Orchim. But unfortunately, the wheels of fortune have turned for him, and he's a real proper Oni. So I ask you to please help him b'derech kovod, in the most bekovodik way possible." Signed, Yisrael ben Eliezer Baal Shem Tov. And just in case you may think this letter is not authentic, you will soon hear a Besura Toiva that both your wives who are expecting gave birth, one to a boy and one to a girl. And as they were reading it, someone walks in and says, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Your wife had a boy, your wife had a girl. So versteht sich die ganze Stunde gewann a Bahula. Immediately the word spread and everybody was mechabit him and they gave him money. They put him back on his feet. The Heilige Abteruv, who was the Rov in Mezhbish many years after the Baal Shem Tov, repeated this story. And he said that he's impressed not only from the Ruach HaKodesh that the Baal Shem Tov, of course, saw 20 years ahead, but the fact that the Baal Shem Tov felt every Yeedler, not only in his position that he is now, but even Chas v'Shalom in the future, if he may be in a Tzorah, he felt it so many years back. And the Abteruv added to it and he said, we must learn from every story. What do we learn from this story? We learn from this story, V'ahavta l'reacha kamoicha. What says kamoicha? Just like a person worries not only for his present moment, but he's worried what's going to be in the future, what will be with my children, with my grandchildren. So also, when we come to help other Yiddelach, we have to feel the same way. Zechusay Yogan Aleinu Val Kol Yisrael.